Yeah.
Welcome to the Rock Zoom Room, Ryan from the Sheepdogs. So glad to have you. How's your day going so far? It's a Friday. You feeling like it's a Friday?
Yeah, it's definitely feeling like a Friday. We know what's funny is like I've been in the Zoom room before here, so it's kind of funny. We're like actually a second visit to the 94.9 Zoom room here. So hopefully the last. Hopefully the next time will be in real life here.
Well, that's nice that you remember, because I'm sure you've done like hundreds of Zoom room calls since we last talked. So
I found myself in Zoom rooms all over the world, but also happy to be doing one here with you.
Such a little space reaching so far, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
So congratulations, your first tour, and I can't believe 4 years. Is that true? 4 years since you guys went out and like really put boots on the ground?
Yeah, well, at least in Canada. I mean, we did a lot of touring internationally, both in Europe and the States in 2019. And we were like geared up to go and we had a cross Canada tour at the Black Keys, and we had a bunch of dates that are on the books for us that hadn't been announced yet when the pandemic happened. But yeah, it's crazy. So like it was February 2018 that was the last time we went across Canada, like doing touring. We always had festivals and things like that. Since then, and in the last year we played a lot of different cities across Canada, but in sort of like different scenarios. But yeah, no, so the first time we'll be like, okay, yeah, like you said, pound the pavement, going out there, promoting stuff and doing like sweaty rock shows all over the country.
Yeah, and speaking of live, a new album that you recorded at Lee's Palace, I guess that was, when did you do that? Was that 4 years ago already?
No, that was in November. So I'm sorry. But what they made that cool was that was the first weekend that Toronto had music or live music indoors back, and we sort of timed it right, and we were the first show to happen, and so we recorded all those shows, being like, this might be kind of cool, like let's just go for it, and like the energy was so remarkable. It's like everyone was so excited and back to be in there, and we were so excited to back to be playing that we thought, let's just capture it and see how it turned out, and it turned out so well that we're like, no, let's put it out. Let's put out a live record. I mean, that's part of what we do. Live is a big part of what we do, and what's made the pandemic such a tough one for us. So happy to put that out, happy to have a record of that, and then happy to announce what we're talking about here is, a big full-scale North American tour that's like going everywhere kind of thing. So it's gonna be great.
So listen, I gotta ask you, be honest, any little cosmetic touches on the live album?
No, not at all. None at all.
Good for you.
Yeah, no, you know what? There was definitely, there's mixing that goes on and stuff like that, but no, there wasn't any redos. We weren't like opposed to it. If there was a song that sounded really awesome and it just had one weird thing, maybe we'd change it. I mean, unfortunate part is like, that's how most live records are. Most bands do live records where they record it and they go in the studio and finish it. No, that's 100% us. That is like you were in the room.
Good for you. Good for you. No, it's funny. I just had a flashback to a Joe Jackson album that he recorded live off the floor at a club date. I guess it was in the mid to late 80s or something. And I remember the first song in the set when he was counting in the band, and you could feel the tension of the beginning of the recording. But it was kind of good tension, because it's kind of like getting ready for a race. Once you get started, you get into the groove and everything kind of falls into place. But was there any kind of feeling like that when you guys were playing the gig, or were you just so high on the energy of the room?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we played shows, but that was kind of like going back and doing 4 nights in a row in a place is a pretty wild time in itself. But I mean, that was, we had a lot of opportunity to sort of play different things, but we definitely were, we hadn't played in a little while. I mean, Toronto effectively had been in a lockdown for quite some time at that point. So yeah, there was nerves, but it's like that I love when shows have nerves. I mean, nerves usually mean that something great is going to happen, not something horrible. At least that's how I've sort of learned to accept it. When you're nervous or sort of have that feeling before a show, it's usually because something great's going to happen. And that was it. It was like, and that's what makes me so excited about this tour and so excited about like moving forward is I think the biggest piece that's been missing from sort of what we do and what all of us sort of respect to do is that experience, that experiential experience of being in a room with a bunch of people, letting loose and experiencing something together, like a rock show where it's like and we experiencing that where it's like we're putting something out there, people are giving us energy back, we're all in this thing together. And we just were in the UK, did a run of dates there, and sort of sold out packed shows, and it was amazing. It was like, and everyone there was just so excited that we were back in the UK, so excited that we got these new songs and they're seeing them live for the first time. And we were just so excited to be out doing what we do. I mean, that's literally what our job is. That's how we do. I mean, that's how, we're not like a post things on TikTok and whatever type band. We're like we come to your town and we rock and do it. And so we're so happy to be back doing that.
So tell me how you managed through the past 2 years.
I mean, it's been a lot of hurry up and wait and accepting that things are going to change. And I think the biggest piece is we just sort of decided we needed to just do what we know. And if that's not playing live, let's just try to get together as much as we can and make music together. It's like, I was talking about this to somebody else earlier. It's funny because what we've been doing is not really any different than we've always done it. But in a normal circumstance, you're always like several steps ahead. You're like, we're working on finishing an album because you have a tour coming up and you have a release date set, or you're getting ready to go on tour, so you don't have time to record much longer. In this case, it's like we kind of had all the time in the world. And so rather than putting a time limit on it, we just said, let's get together as much as we can. Let's do what we did. You know, we've been band for 18 years now. It's like, let's do what we did in 2004. Let's like hang out in somebody's basement and just work on music. And in this case, I mean, a little bit more and successful these days than we were when we were, you know, learning to play our instruments. But we went to a studio and we just jammed. And when we felt like it was good, we put down a song. And so we created music with that. And so we just spent, and it wasn't like, this has to be a song on the record. It's like, let's make a song and you know, with that, let's see how it turns out and pick the best ones and put them out there. So that's kind of how we survived by kind of just going back to what we, you know, normally do, what organically we are drawn to do when we aren't on the road, I guess.
The new single is pretty cool. That's all I've heard of the new music so far. And sounds like you guys playing in a room together.
That's literally what it is. I mean, most of the stuff that we've recorded is that. It's like, it's all of us in a circle, in a room, feeding off each other, and we would jam a song a couple times. In most cases, like, you know, maybe got it first couple takes. It's not like a lot of like punt and fixes. I mean, we definitely love to like put other things in there and stuff, but it's, you know, Find the Truth is literally us all playing that in a room together. Even the guitar melodies are being played together. So it's like, that's what we do. That's how we do things.
Those guitar parts are very nicely arranged. I mean, Jimmy Boskill allows you guys to really stretch out a lot more. I'll tell you what I got from it right away. I heard Old Molly Hatchet.
Okay, nice. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite things about the comparisons that we get is it's usually like people comparing things that they like. Like, I haven't heard that one before, but I love that that's where that goes for you, because that obviously means something to you. And I like that. Like, a lot of people have sort of like referenced different bands to us that they feel represent the song. And I think that's cool, because I don't want it to be like so on the nose that you're like, this sounds exactly like this. I want it to like have the spirit of something, and spirit of something that you like or anybody, whoever's listening to our music. That's the way we like to do things.
But it's very definitely the Sheepdogs. You know it within the first few chords, which is, you can't buy that stuff, but that takes 18 years.
Yeah, that's right. That's like a good, you know, scotch.
yeah. Good, great analogy. Listen, I was just looking over your tour schedule. So 49 dates throughout North America. And one of the stops I noticed that you're on is in Woodstock, New York, at the Levon Helm studio. Is that the barn?
Yes, it is. And we are very, very, very excited for that show.
Wow. Now, for people who don't know what I'm talking about, do you want to explain it, or would you like me to do it?
Sure, you go ahead. I mean, you probably can give a better explanation.
Well, you know, I've only read about it, and it was on my bucket list to visit before Levon passed away. But it was a big barn on his property in Woodstock, New York, and he would have, did he call it a Saturday night jamboree? Once a week. He kind of had this permanent residency, and I think you paid $100 to get in or something like that, and you got to see Levon and whoever wanted to join him that night kick out the jams for 3 hours, and you just never knew who was going to show up at the time, because he had so many friends and so many people still live there. So it's it must be a thrill for you to be on those grounds.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty wild, and everything I've heard from people playing those shows, it's like, you know, it's a town that has been very much blessed with having Levon be, you know, when he was still alive, being there and the things that he did. And so, yeah, it's not quite the same as the Rambles, which again, that was very much on my bucket list. It was one of those things I never really got. You know, I know people who went and I heard how amazing it was, but it was never really in the cards. So it's pretty special to go and play there. So I, you know, feel very honored to be part of that. And I know there's a lot of people that, you know, in that area that just love to go, because there's just, yeah, like there's like a built-in vibe that comes from exactly like it was not, he's a big star who played in like one of the biggest, most influential bands that like everybody, like you watch The Last Waltz, everybody loved the band. And here he is, he just like wanted to play music and wanted to hang out. And it didn't matter if it was somebody who traveled down from Winnipeg or if it was, you know, Bob Dylan or whoever, like whoever was there. It's like it's such a wild sort of idea, but it's a beautiful thing for sure. It's like, yeah, it's very cool to be part of that.
And you know what's going to be interesting about that gig? I would imagine it's going to be one of the most unique ones, not only because of the setting, but because of the audience, because you'll have your fan base there, no doubt. But I think a lot of people just go to be there because they know there's going to be great live music at that venue. So you have an opportunity to convert some new people, both young and old.
I mean, that's the goal, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, great. And I think, you know, it's one of those ones that, you know, there's a lot of great places and we miss those experiences. That's part of what tour is about. It's about going out and playing to the people who love you and trying to get other people to get into what you're doing. And in that case, it's like also historically an amazing location to be allowed to, you know, to be, it's like, it's an honor to be able to be playing in the same stage that, you know, he built in his barn to do these events that, you know, that he did until like literally days before he died. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Let me ask you, have you played anywhere where you going in said, oh, this is the bucket list, we're so excited to play here, or finished playing somewhere and thought, oh my God, what a great place to play? Is there a favorite place that you've played at?
I mean, I wouldn't say there's a favorite place because it'd be so hard. There's so many different places that either, I don't know. There's places that like are amazing because they have history. There's places that are amazing because like the city is just great or the people are just great or whatever. I mean, there's lots of different spots. I mean, there's some pretty legendary places like Massey Hall. Our last tour in 2018, we're playing in this tour. Massey Hall is one of those ones that has such a history and it's such a vibe, right? It's like you stand on stage, you feel like there's people above you and everywhere. Same thing with Burton Cummings Theater in Winnipeg. It's an old vaudeville theater that has this amazing, or somewhere like the Commodore Ballroom, where it's like got the horsehair floors, and when people are rocking in there, the floor is moving, and it's like a very legendary thing. But you know, then we've also played like the Fillmore in San Francisco, and that's like, you know, way up there on those types of things. Or we've played, you know, a lot of very sort of historic venues like that, are, you know, historic venues in England. We played the Roundhouse in England, which is like an incredible venue. And we've played, we played all over the place. I mean, we played all these things. I think the thing that's always interesting is some of those venues end up being like, wow, this is amazing. And you're like, man, the stage actually sounds kind of, you know, crappy. Like, it's like that thing where you're like, this is this historic place, these amazing shows took place that you're like, but that's the thing. It's funny is that a lot of venues in Europe or even in Canada, it's like it's not a like Massey Hall was not made to be. I mean, when Massey Hall was built, they didn't even have electricity. Electricity was not a thing yet, and so you have it in there now. It looks incredible. They had to shine light on the stage by using windows, like stained glass, because there was no electricity was not in Toronto yet which is wild to think about. But then you have cut to, you know, how many years later, Sheepdogs playing full electric and like, you know, blowing the roof off the place. You know, these places are in Europe where we play these venues where they're hundreds and hundreds of years old. They just now happen to house a music venue. So it's interesting where you kind of get that experience where you have this idea it's going to be amazing, and then you come off stage and go, oh man, I couldn't hear anything up there or whatever. But at the same time, there's other places you're like, oh yeah, you can feel the energy. You know, a place like the Fillmore in San Francisco, like you can feel the energy in that place. And I think it's because you walk through the halls of the place and the posters of all the shows that have taken place there. You're in the green room and you're like, nothing has changed about this place since all these acts played there. And the people that are in the audience also have that respect for it. Same thing with Massey. Like, people are like, this is a special place. this is where magical things have happened and will continue to happen because of the types of people that are there. And so, yeah, that's definitely a funny thing. I mean, there's obviously a lot of them like that.
So I noticed you're wearing a Blue Jays shirt, and you guys are gonna be out on the road, I guess, starting in late September. What happens when the Jays are in the pennant and in the World Series? What are you gonna do?
Oh my God, trust me, 2015, well, like diehard Jays fans, me and you, and especially. And 2015 was the first year that I moved to Toronto, and the Jays were so bad at the beginning of the season, and nobody was going to the games. That I was going to so many games at the beginning of the season because I was like, oh, they're $15. I can go and see the Jays game. I'm going to watch it at home. I'll just go. And I went to those games, and then cut to the second half of the year where they got really good, and then cut to the postseason where we were on tour and I didn't get to go to a single game, which was like so disappointing. We were watching for the road, like when the Bautista bat flip game happened. We were watching that game in a small, dingy sort of dive bar in Tucson, Arizona. We just convinced the bartender to put it on the TV. And like when the bat flip happened, like I literally ran out the door, like I didn't know what to do with myself. But I mean, like we missed these events, and all my friends were at the games and whatever. So in 2016, we were not on the road that fall, and so we went to every single game of the Cleveland series, the ALCS series. We went to all the games in Cleveland, and we went to all the games in Toronto. So that was like, and they lost, sucked. But so this year, yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, we'll see how it lines up. But I mean, I certainly would. I'm very excited about this season. I'm going to be at a lot of games as much as I can be. So, I mean, I don't want to put too much of a jinx on it. It was obviously like pretty great in 2015 when it was out of nowhere. They went from being below 500 to, winning the American League. Like that's a pretty remarkable achievement. So that was a very exciting season. So I'm hopeful. I mean, I think the team looks great. So we'll see. I will go as much as I can. I often will try to go to games where it's happened where we'll be sort of in the vicinity. So I'll go to a game, Jays game somewhere else in the States.
Have you been able to see them on the road over the years?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, no, definitely. Yep. In 2015, that season, I went to LA and I watched all 4 games against the Angels in Los Angeles, and they swept the Angels. That was in the end of August. And that was sort of because I knew I wasn't going to be able to go to the playoffs. So I flew down to LA. You and Seamus and I, and our friend Matt, flew down to LA and went to all 4 games. It was a blast. It was great. Ran into George Strombo there, went up back to his house to a big party, and a bunch of the sports media guys were there, and it was a good time. It was a fun one to do. But yeah, we definitely done that. Hit a few spots every once in a while, like the stars align, and you end up in the same city, and you can go and see the game.
Yeah, well, I've got my fingers crossed for this year. I really like the way the team looks, and I think we're going to be there when push comes to shove in September. So it's going to be fantastic. And they're doing really nice in the preseason too, even though the preseason doesn't mean anything. You still want them to come out of camp with a winning attitude and some kind of momentum. So I think the season starts on Monday, April 4th, and the home opener on April the 8th, which is great. And it's funny, you being a Saskatchewan boy, a lot of people don't realize that Saskatchewan's a great baseball province.
Oh, big time. Yeah. I mean, Western Canada actually is. I mean, for a while, the Cardinals had, I think St. Louis Cardinals had their farm team for a while was in like Brandon, Manitoba or something. There's a lot of rich history with baseball in Saskatchewan. And like both you and I growing up played baseball, and there's big baseball tournaments. And, and it's a funny thing because you think most places that baseball is popular, it's like California where it's like hot all the time. So you can do it, but it's funny in a place where you appreciate the summer, baseball becomes a really big thing. So yeah, I enjoy it. I also enjoy when you listen to sports radio, the post game stuff, and you get the guys from Saskatchewan calling in to complain about the moves on the team. It's like, I mean, we all know we try to keep it straight, but when you really get a real good Joe Saskatchewan guy going about baseball, it really makes me. When I hear that, it makes me just feel like I'm right back at home at the local bar or something like that.
So what's up for you guys between now and the tour? What are you doing for warm-ups? What are you doing to get into shape?
We're doing a full European tour, starts in May into June. We got some festival stuff happening, which is going to be real great. And, we got some more exciting things to come out. We got some new music coming out. So we're going to be putting some new things out pretty soon here too. So yeah, the biggest thing is just we're touring. We're doing, if I think some stuff hasn't been fully announced for various reasons on the Canadian front, but for the most part, the tour, that and some added dates outside of that, as well as, you know, I think we're looking at probably doing close to 100 dates by sort of once all this is like settled. So it's going to be, you know, I think we have like something like 85 or 80 some shows that have been announced already on the year. So it's going to be a busy year, but that's exactly what we want to be doing. We want to be out there playing.
And tickets went on sale today, or at least today, the date of this conversation, Friday,
Yeah.
April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
So tickets on the Rock app and the rock.fm, October the 13th at Massey Hall. And I think you said you've seen the new hall, you've been in?
Yeah, we actually played there as part of the Andy Kim Christmas concert. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what's pretty cool about it too is they now have it so you can have GA on the main floor. So the seats are retractable. So you can still sit in the seats up top, but it's going to be like cabaret, like open floor rock show style. So it's pretty cool actually. They've done an amazing job there. If people haven't had a chance to go see it, it's like one of the few times you take something that's old and you fix it up, but you make it better, not like worse because you're trying to like update it to be modern or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of places, even like at our hometown in Saskatoon, where people have taken old things and just kind of like try to fix them up and improving them. But no, they've made it better. They have the stained glass windows are back, which have been there since it was built. They've refurbished them. The sort of overall vibe of everything, they've made like entry points better. It's like they've made it as good as it could possibly be. I think so. I'm very excited to play there like a full show.
Okay, so can I get my name at the door, or?
Yeah, you got it. Of course. Come on down. Yeah, it's going to be awesome, man. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be great all across the board, you know, in all these shows, but that one's definitely going to be a special one.
Have a fantastic summer, safe travels, great singing, great playing, and Massey Hall on October 13th, Ryan from the Sheepdogs in the Rock Zoom room.
Thanks so much. We'll do it again soon. Have a great night. Thank you, man. Take care.